You know, I bombed all over.
Yeah, that still happens every couple weeks. So
They're all equally bad.
That I can't actually identify which is the worst I've ever bombed.
We did a show at NYU, right? At New York University. We did a show.
You know, it's every comedian's dream to appear at Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie Hall last year.
Well, I finally got my chance.
I only got 8 standing ovations.
I think the worst, I got heckled by a guy that had Tourette's.
In the late 70s, oh my God, I got booked to open for a punk rock band.
And it was actually in the cafeteria, and it was at the same time as
the World Series. The Yankees were in the World Series.
It was prison night at Carnegie Hall. They're a little rude and disrespectful, and it's very easy to get up on the stage there, and it's very easy to sharpen a toothbrush into a crude knife.
I once performed at a bowling alley, and people were actually bowling.
I was already not doing well, and then he would heckle, but then there would be something added to the heckle that wouldn't make sense. You bore me, bring on mirror and suck my face.
Everybody was literally watching the game next door to us while 4 people showed up for the improv show. All you heard was everybody being like, Jeter, like clapping, and we're like, can we get a word of inspiration?
Just think about it. Just think about trying to do stand-up in a punk rock room in front of a punk rock club, all of whom are pissed off that they're not more famous as punk rockers.
I had a pretty bad set one night in London where people were, a few minutes into my set, they were chanting, "Get off, get off."
People yelled racist stuff at me. Where's Osama? This is when Osama was still alive. There was about 12 people in the audience, very unhappy gamblers.
Stage, it was at a college, and it was basically exactly like I am right now, except there was an elevator right there.
The person before me had ran the light by 10 minutes, and it was late.
And usually my first line is, I know what you're thinking, what is Don Cheadle doing here?
That students would come out, watch me for a couple minutes, and then get back in the elevator once they decided it wasn't for them.
Immediately after getting on stage, already in a pissy mood, one of the audience members, some drunk piece of trash lady, screamed at me, "You suck!"
And some guy went, who's Don Cheadle?
I was going up at a room called the Boston Comedy Club in New York City in the West Village.
I hadn't even said anything yet, and I just immediately tore into her like, no, like yellow light, just complete green light.
I was asked to do a 45th high school reunion for a very affluent high school in Denver.
And I said to myself, I'm screwed.
I had done stand-up 3 or 4 times, and I was like, okay, I have this down.
I got no laughs, got into an argument with a guy in the audience over Obama.
Well, I had a thing in the last 5 years where I had a little bit of a meltdown.
It's time to invite my parents.
I wouldn't call it bombing, but I threw a temper tantrum.
The assholes at the Boston Comedy Club sat them right up front. I stood up front in front of a buffet thing on the roof of a health club and did a show, and none of them laughed once.
The 4th or 5th time of me going after them and just completely shutting people down and tearing people up and getting them kicked out, and there's still people being loud.
Dave Chappelle, as a matter of fact, before he was hugely famous, looks at my 14-year-old brother in front of my parents and just goes, "How old are you?" 14. "Oh, yeah. You probably jerk off a lot, right?"
So at the end, I just Chris Rocked it and dropped the mic. I had like 10 minutes left.
I had about 10 minutes left in my show, and instead of leaving the stage, I said, I'm going to just stand up here on stage until everybody in the audience leaves, because I don't ever want to see you again.